Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Save-O Library podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and this is a What Are You Into episode, so I'm going to be talking about what I'm into and what my guests are into. This week, I'm joined by Peter from Adult Services. Hi, Peter.
Hello.
And Kristina from Adult Services. Hi, Kristina.
Hello.
So who wants to start off? What are you guys into?
I can start.
All right.
So I've been into an HBO true crime documentary, The Jinx. This came out in 2015, I think, and it's about a guy, Robert Durst, who is part of this wealthy family in the city who is connected to multiple unsolved missing persons / murders. So the documentary just sort of goes over all of the background on the case and also interviews with Robert Durst. And it's really interesting listening to this guy talk about the crimes he's accused of and all of this. There's also interviews with other people connected to the missing people and sort of how he's gotten away with all of this for so long. I think the first missing person that he's connected to was in the 1970s. So the documentary is just sort of looking at like how all of this has occurred, how he's been able to get away with it. Is he even guilty? And then it did have like a famous viral moment where he's mic'd up and he goes to the bathroom and makes what appears to be a confession. And as the documentary aired that finale, it was announced that he was being charged with one of the murders. Not from that confession, but they actually uncovered other evidence that connected him to it. So they are HBO is releasing sort of a second part to this series. That's everything that's happened since the finale aired. So Robert Durst has since passed away, but it's interviews with him in jail and all of this. And I thought it was a really interesting, the second part, seeing sort of what happens after you have like a viral true crime doc, like how is the justice system working here and all of that.
The second part is up already? It's already
the first episode aired this week.
Yeah, I watched that back when it was new. It's an amazing documentary. I'm definitely going to watch the second season.
Yeah, I see it popping up on my HBO feed. I'll have to give that a shot.
Yes, and the first season is available on DVD, which is unusual for stuff that's streaming, but HBO is usually pretty good about it. Yeah.
Very cool. Check that out. I guess I'll go next. I'm also into a series. It's the new show Fallout on Amazon Prime. It's based off a popular video game franchise that I have played all the games of. I'm a big fan. It is an 8-episode first season. Each episode's about 40 minutes to an hour, so it's pretty short. But it has a really high budget. It's a big production show. I think Amazon put a lot of money behind this.
Yeah, Pete Wentz of Fallout Boy DJ'd for the premiere party.
Whoa! I mean, if that's not enough to sell you for this show. So the show is basically set roughly 250 years in the future. It's a post-apocalyptic world where basically there was a nuclear war at the end of the Cold War and laid waste to the world. But a select number of people went into bunkers before this happened. There were they're called vaults in the show. There's about 100 or so of them scattered around the United States. And 250 years later, some of them start to come out of the vaults and realize that not everyone was wiped out during this explosion. There's actually some survivors. There's some irradiated beasts out there and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. The show follows basically 4 protagonists. The main one, her name is Lucy. She's one of these vault dwellers, they're called, who has to leave to rescue her father, who's kind of abducted. That's like the main plot, I guess. There's another character named Maximus. He's one of these survivors in the wasteland who joins a sort of like a cult called the Brotherhood of Steel. They're sort of this militaristic organization that's trying to survive in the wasteland by gathering up any existing technology that may have survived the war. And then another, not a protagonist, an antagonist, but this is my favorite character, is named the Ghoul, who's played by Walter Goggins, famous actor. So this is my favorite character in the show, and Walter Goggins is just an amazing actor. He really turns it up for this one. He's basically this irradiated sort of ghoulish character who has somehow survived 250 years in the wasteland, and that's sort of like part of the mystery surrounding the show. Like, how has he survived all these years? So you start to learn about his backstory and what he was doing before the war and how it ties into the wasteland and everything. So he is a really, really interesting character. He's now in the future, he's sort of like a bounty hunter character, but I don't know. It's his story is very, very interesting. And then the last character is Norm, who is Lucy's brother, who still stays behind in the vault and is sort of gets involved in like all this conspiracy that's kind of going on in the vaults, where you start to uncover like maybe there's some secret motives that are going on behind these vaults. Maybe they're not so, rosy as you're led to believe. So it's a really interesting show. It does an excellent job of adapting the video games, I think. Like, the art style, everything's very iconic in the games, and they do a great job of adapting it. My only real qualms with the show is it's a little too violent, like to almost a grotesque level, which the games are violent too. I mean, it's a wasteland, you have guns and stuff, but there's something that's lost when, you're playing a game and you're fighting like pixelized characters, as opposed to like seeing humans being like eviscerated. It's just like very unnerving. So that's like my biggest qualm with it. If you're kind of squeamish, I would maybe stay away from this show. So I hope it already got picked up for a season 2. So I hope in season 2 they kind of tone that down a little bit. The other thing that the Fallout series is really known for is its humor. It's actually a very funny game series. It's saturated with satire. It's kind of the whole theme is the world kind of got frozen in like the 1950s at the height of the Cold War, and that it's kind of like a retrofuturism where that like look of the 1950s kind of carried on into the past the 2000s. So it's like that look and kind of feel of the country and like the rah-rah patriotism kind of carried on from the 50s on. So that's like the games are very satirical about that era of Americans past. So I hope they kind of do more of that in season 2. They definitely do some of it in the first season, but I would like more humor and less gross violence in season 2.
Maybe they'll bring in Final Pam.
Who's Final Pam?
From Monster Factory.
Oh my gosh. It's too niche for... We'll get into that later. So anyways, I really recommend it. I really liked it. If you are like a fan of the other Amazon show, The Boys, it's very much in line with that in terms of like the violence and the humor and stuff. So if you like The Boys, you should definitely check this out. If you played the Fallout games, you should definitely check this out. Yeah, it's kind of like if you like the Star Wars shows or recent movies, but you want something that's like more mature, this might be a good thing to check out too. So yeah, that's the Fallout series.
I've had a few people recommending it to me, so I'm sure I'll.
The first episode is great. I think give it a shot. If you liked the first episode, keep going. But the first episode kind of lays out what the show is about pretty well, like in terms of the violence and the humor and everything. Yeah, got some good performances, I will say too. It's not all just violence, but it's worth checking out. So that's my first thing I'm into. What are you into, Peter?
My first one is also a TV show. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Deadloch, and that's Loch, like a Scottish lake, not Lock. It's a kind of a comic murder mystery show. It's Australian, and it's basically the concept is that it's set in Tasmania, which is the island off the southern coast of Australia, which, I'm kind of a geography nerd too, so it's kind of interesting to me to see what this, they filmed it there and everything is like, or it's kind of like, I always think of Australia as desert or like, Mediterranean, but it's kind of like the Pacific Northwest. Anyway, so the basics of the story is it's a small town on Tasmania, and men start getting murdered. So it's a female detective is the main character, and they send another detective to help because it's starting to look like there's a serial killer. So they send another detective from the mainland down, and she's really unhinged person. So it's really funny. I mean, being crass is like the national pastime of Australia. So if you're sensitive to bad language, do not watch it because it's filled with bad language. But it's really funny, and it's got some interesting things about the indigenous people living there, some interesting things about class going on. And it's also, it's sort of a send up of allyship gone to the extreme. So it's just fun, easy thing to watch, funny. If you like murder mysteries, it's got a good murder mystery element to it too. But Amazon Prime, I recommend it if you're not squeamish about language.
All right, good recommendation. Kristina, you got something else?
Yeah. I'm actually going to talk about X-Men 97, not my cat. I was going to talk about my cat, but I don't have enough to say about him. So X-Men 97 is a cartoon on Disney Plus. It's a continuation of the X-Men cartoon from the 90s. It is so good. If you're not familiar with the X-Men, they are, I guess, mutated humans who have various superpowers. Sort of the main issue in the show is that some people don't think that they're human and should have rights, and some people, mostly themselves, do. And they've created their own country that's for mutants, and it's a lot of the politics of like them trying to join the UN and people still believing that they don't deserve personhood. But it's been exploring a lot of really interesting things. In one episode, we find out that Jean Grey has been replaced with a clone, but she and the clone don't know, and they don't know when the switch happened, but they share all of the same memories, so they don't know who's been who. And at a point, Jean is pregnant and has a baby, and she doesn't know if it's her or the clone who had the baby, or even if it's, Scott, her husband, and the clone, had the baby. It's really interestingly discussing all of the different things that might come up when you have so many people who have all of these really interesting superpowers. It's also already been, I think it was originally going to be 3 seasons that they fully planned, and Disney Plus already okayed it, so it's going to be like a full arc, which I am excited to.
Will it be like X-Men 98 next?
I don't know what point of the year we're in. So much has happened already. I think maybe there've been 5 or 6 episodes. Storm loses her powers and gets them back, but also falls in love with the man that she's been staying with. But to me, they've only been staying with each other for 2 episodes. It's like, well, how can she know? But then I'm like, well, I guess more time has passed than I think. I have no idea what the time frame of the show is.
So this is definitely not like a kid's. This is more. No. This is like totally geared for adults.
This is
for people
definitely
who watched it when they were kids. The original.
Yeah, for the kids who were coming home from school to watch the X-Men.
Because I watched these cartoons. I guess back in couldn't have been 97. Anyways, I watched it when it was out.
I think it ended in 97.
Okay, and that makes sense.
I don't remember that. It feels like it kind of might have ended on a cliffhanger, and that's why they needed they wanted to continue. I believe in the finale, Charles Xavier dies of the X and X-Men, and then what's going to happen to the X-Men if they don't have their leader?
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast where they were talking about this, and they kind of described it as a superhero soap.
Yeah. But there's the last episode that they aired had like so much action. Yeah. It was really good.
I had 2 movies from the original show that I think I got from Pizza Hut.
I think those might be on Disney Plus, because after I watch the episodes, it's always recommending an X-Men movie, animated movie. And the animation quality looks very different than the rest of the show.
There's been a lot of advancements in technology in the last quarter century.
Well, even from the original cartoon, like the movies that they're showing me look totally different. I'm like, where did these movies come from?
There were 2 of them.
Is one where they meet Jubilee at the mall?
Yes. Yeah, they fight a sentinel in the mall. Yeah.
That's on Disney Plus.
I remember Gambit was. Yeah. Wow. These are memories that are flooding back to me right now.
Pizza Hut was a cultural tastemaker.
Absolutely was. We could do a whole episode on free things I got from Pizza Hut that affected my childhood.
And the Book It program, where if you read enough books, you got a free personal pan
Absolutely.
pizza.
Okay, cool. Maybe I will check that out, actually, now that I have to recapture my childhood now. Cool. So the next thing I am into is a movie that just got released on DVD. It came out last year, and I saw it. It was nominated for Best International Film last year at the Oscars. The only reason I didn't talk about it in our Oscar episodes is it literally was in the theaters for like less than a week, and I didn't get to see it before we recorded the episode. But it is one of my favorite movies that came out last year, and it is now out on DVD. The library has it. You can come in and pick it up. The movie is called The Teacher's Lounge. It's a German film. It's about an idealistic young middle school teacher named Carla who becomes embroiled in an ongoing theft scandal at her school. So things are going missing around the school, and the teachers are starting to suspect one of Carla's students, and Carla is adamant that he did not do it. And she sort of takes it upon herself to start a little mini investigation at the school to find out who the culprit is. And when she starts to suspect it's one of the fellow teachers, things get really dicey. So I don't want to spoil too much, but the police get involved. Things escalate very quickly, out of Carla's control, and suddenly she finds herself at odds with not only the faculty, but then the students start to turn on her. The students' parents start to turn on her, and things start to get rapidly out of control. This movie it seems like it's a very low stakes movie. Like, it's like, oh, who cares if someone's stealing pencils at a middle school? But this movie is shot like a thriller. Like, it is a riveting story. Like, you will be at the edge of your seat watching this movie. The acting is fantastic. It's just a really, really great drama. And, I'm not surprised at all that it was nominated for Best International Film. Like, the directing, everything is so high quality. Like, you have to be a great storyteller to make such a low stakes plot feel like a AAA thriller movie. You know what I mean? Like, and this movie absolutely delivers on it. So I highly recommend it. I have so much more respect for teachers after seeing this movie. Like, this might be traumatizing if you are a teacher. But yeah, what a great movie. The Teacher's Lounge. It's a German movie. We have it here at the library. Come and check it out. It's fantastic.
Definitely adding it to my watch list.
Yeah, it's great. It's got a nice mystery. Maybe you might like that as a mystery fan. All right, Peter, what are you into?
My last one is it's music. There's a band called Closedown. They were one of the earlier shoegaze bands in the U.S. They're from L.A. And I was aware of them back. They released an album back in 1994 called Nearfield, which I heard. I had like a friend of a friend who kind of knew them that lived in LA at the time, and just didn't really click with me. It didn't love it. And for anybody to give a little background who doesn't know what shoegaze is, that's listening, it's it was a popularized early 90s thing that happened in England of guitar bands that were using a lot of distortion, but for the effect of making it sound spacey or dreamy instead of heavy. And recently, just I think a couple of weeks ago, the band re-released the album. Basically, what it turns out happened with the album in 1994 is they recorded it. Their label at the time mixed it without their knowledge and made the designed the packaging without their knowledge, and they just got it in the mail, and they hated how it sounded and they hated how it looked. The original cover, it looks like it was designed on a computer in 1994 by a teenager. Anyway, so they've remastered the whole thing how they want it to sound, and they made a new cover and they changed it. The album's called Dissolve. just really love it. It's right up there with some of the best, Slow Dive or My Buddy Valentine. If that's your kind of thing, I recommend it. Also compared to, if you're not old like me, some more contemporary bands like Nothing or Were. But it's a really good album. It's available on the streaming services, or you can buy it online. So I highly recommend it if that sounds interesting to you at all.
Yeah, I've liked your shoegaze recommendations in previous episodes, which everyone should go check out. All right, so that's all we have for this episode. Thank you both for joining me and sharing what you're into right now.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day. Bye. I gotta work on my closing.
We need a catchphrase.
See you next time between the shelves.